You cream 2 cups of nostalgia with 1 fresh movie ticket, and what do you get? Episode 5 of the Fresh Baked Niche podcast, where the best half-baked conversations happen. I am your baker, Patrick, and today, we're going to the movies. Well, at least figuratively speaking. I want to get you to that headspace. Think about what it was like when you were a kid, and maybe how it's been for the past recent years. And that's what we're talking about. But before that, a movie I watched recently was Captain America: Brave New World. I honestly thought it was pretty solid compared to at least what the MCU's been kicking out lately. The story wasn't too bloated, it knew when to make a solid joke, and it took itself just seriously enough. It felt like how they used to feel, and hopefully this is a good sign for where they're going in the future. So getting into the theater experience, I first want to step back to what it was like when I was a kid. I remember it being more of a spur-of-the-moment thing, you know? You would see a commercial on TV, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, out this weekend, whatever, Happy Feet. You'd be like, oh crap, Happy Feet's out. I want to see that. Let's go. And you'd either rope your family in, or you'd hook up with a few friends, however it was, and you would get together. You would make this happen, and you'd go to the theater. And then when you got there, you walked in, big open space, bunch of standees, ton of posters, and that smell, that wonderful smell of popcorn. Oh, enchanting. It really set the vibe. Usually your parent, because you at least had one with you, would be like, hey, however many tickets for Happy Feet. And you'd be just bouncing, you'd be excited, you'd get your junk foods, you'd get your soda pops, whatever. My go-to is always some popcorn and a blue raspberry icy. That's just how I do movies. And then you'd go, tell you, hey, you're in theater 2, down this hall, on the right, second door. Fantastic. So you'd go down, you'd basically run down that hall. You'd get there, you walk in, it's dimly lit, it's kind of cool. And I mean temperature-wise, not atmosphere. And you'd walk in and you'd pick whatever seat you wanted, and then you'd wait. You'd maybe watch some trailers, and then you were in it. You'd get lost in this experience that you went to see. And it was great. I very much fondly remember going to the theater when I was a child. I loved it. That's not really how it is anymore, is it? That's a dream, as it were. Because now when you go to the theater, you gotta buy your ticket from the same guy who's handling your popcorn. You gotta reserve your seats half the time before the movie, and if you don't, good luck sitting next to people. I know I went with 3 people not too long ago to go see Sonic 3, and there is exactly 2 places within the seating area that could hold 3 people. And the worst part was, at least a couple years ago, my group would have been able to walk in there and ask one of the groups of 2, hey, do you think you could move over just one so we could sit, here together? That's not how it is anymore. You gotta reserve your freaking seats. It also costs you like an arm and a leg. I mean, for the price of a popcorn nowadays, back then you could have bought 4 tickets, a large popcorn, 4 of their biggest drinks, and still had a few bucks left over. And now, I mean, just for me and one other person to go see a movie, it costs like 80 bucks. And I get it. Theaters need to make their money. But I mean, the ticket prices are astronomical, and the snack prices are definitely not helping. And I know I could go without the snacks, or I could sneak my own in. I just don't like doing that. That's just a personal thing. I'm going there. I'm going to buy their stuff. That's just how I am. And then, like, the theater itself. I mean, I found a new place recently within the past year or so. It gives me that feeling again, like when I was a kid when I'd walk in. They still do some cool stuff. I know over the holidays when I went to see Sonic 3, they had a big-ass Christmas tree covered in ornaments. And every single one was a reference to a movie. And it was so cool to see it. They really brought that atmosphere right into the lobby, and I appreciated that. So to give some credit, that's still a thing. I know my local theater has been doing something a little bit differently. They've been raffling off their posters and stuff, and the ones that they aren't raffling off, they're actually taking them and incorporating them into the wallpaper of the arcade. I think that's pretty cool. I also noticed that my theater, as of late, started selling merchandise, and I don't know if that's like a modern thing or what's going on there. I think it's a little weird, but at the same time, buying a novelty candle that is popcorn scented and looks like popcorn is kind of neat. But I will say, the last 2 times I did go to the theater actually felt nice. I saw White Christmas in December. It was a limited showing. All of the crowd except for me and my family were like 80 plus years old. It was my first time seeing it, but honestly, I liked the atmosphere. It was cool seeing these old people just relish in something that, they had when they were kids. Because they were singing the songs, they were doing their oohs and ahs at very appropriate times. There was a lot of love in that room, and I really liked that. Whereas when I went and saw Captain America, Everybody was quiet. Nobody was recording the movie. There weren't a dozen 6-year-olds screaming and crying because the action scene got a little too loud. And I know I was having issues with those kind of things, like just within the past 5 years, but at least within the last 2 to 3 times I've been to the movies, it has been a lot better. And I hope to see that continue to be better, because I think the sad truth is people aren't really going out to the movies like they used to, and I think part of that's because for the same price as one ticket, you could get a subscription to a streaming service for about the same price for, a month? And that gives you access to hundreds of hours of content. And you can all watch it from the, comfort of your own home. I mean, you can stay in your pajamas, you can pause, you can have a full-on meal. You can even have a drink if that's your thing. I mean, I know some theaters have started serving alcohol or even having full-on, dinners, but at least the ones that I get to go to, I gotta eat before I go in, because the only food they got is popcorn and Milk Duds. Not like I'm complaining, I'd rather have a little snacky thing anyways, but the option would be nice. So I don't know. I'm not sure where we stand. I'm not sure where we're going either. But, I guess tell me down in the comments. Do you still like going to the movie theater? I mean, I do, and I have hopes for it. I'd like to keep doing this in the future, and maybe people start going back. But, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on this. Or, hell, just let me know the last movie you actually went and saw in a theater. And, while you're doing that, maybe consider throwing me a like, maybe even a subscription if you're feeling it. But if not, hey, no sweat. I'll still be pumping these out every Saturday at about noon EST. And as always, thank you for baking with me today, and goodbye.